Dusty, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great, man. How are we doing today?
Great. So I was listening to you this morning, and you weren't specifically talking about A&M when you made this comment, but I thought about A&M. I didn't hear the lead up, but you were talking about Georgia and Gunnar Stockton and having to be careful not getting hurt. And he's like, any program that loses their starting quarterback would be in a lot of trouble. And I was like, Dusty, I wanted to call you right there. A&M, that's been our story since 2021. Every year it's multiple quarterbacks. And I just wanted to relay that to you. That's kind of been the life here recently.
It really has. And I was not thinking about Texas A&M. I just think in general, it's tough to have depth at quarterback, right? Because, as we know now, I mean, Connor Wigman, who had his issues, he's gone. Haynes King, he's now at Georgia Tech. I mean, you think about the revolving door in College Station and around college football, especially in that quarterback room, players are so quick to go somewhere else. So it's just, they are prized possessions and you want to protect them. But a guy like Marcel Reed, man, Colin Klein with his background, one of his big weapons, one of the big parts that I think strikes fear in defenses is that ability to run with the football. Now, clearly, I would say Marcel not built like his offensive coordinator, and you don't want to run him. I think it was 310 times Colin ran it his junior season at quarterback. You don't want to do that. But I think it still has to be a part of what you do, but being mindful of situations and when to protect yourself, when to get down, when to go out of bounds, just be smart and recognize that it's a long, grueling season, especially in the SEC. Preservation is so important, as Aggies fans know very well, especially here recently with that quarterback position.
Dusty, where are you on A&M? And I'm just going to set some parameters for you. Let's just say Marcel takes a step, right? If Marcel takes a step, there isn't an injury at the position. Where are you on A&M?
I like the Aggies. I put them at 15 in our preseason poll, and I struggled. There's three teams that I don't do my preseason poll based off of where you finished last year. I do it based off where I think you're headed this year. And everyone can do it however they want, but that's kind of the way I look at it. And I really like this Aggies team. I've got four at the top in the SEC. I think the SEC is wide open, first and foremost. I got four at the top, and then that's LSU, that's Bama, that's Texas, that's Georgia, not particularly in that order. And then right after that, I'm high on Florida. I'm high on Texas A&M. And it's not because I got the helmet behind me and I went to school there, but I'm high on Oklahoma. And I think those three programs take a jump. And it's not going to surprise me if Ole Miss, if South Carolina, and maybe Tennessee take a step back. That's kind of the way I see it. And so I look at Texas A&M as a team that I think I pinned it at 9 wins. I took the over on 8.5. But would it shock me if they were able to get to 10? No. I think that game week 3 in South Bend is crucial. I think it's not necessarily, it's not an SEC game, but where are you? Because I personally think Texas A&M offensive line is going to be really, really good. I think that's going to be a strength of theirs. At what point do you get Le'Veon Moss back? I don't know. I know I've read different reports. He'll be back for that week 3 matchup. We'll see. But you get Reuben Owens back. I can't wait to see him. And so I just think that with Marcel, who from my understanding has improved as a passer, I think you're going to have a little bit more balance year 2 with him and his coordinator. I like that mix. And I got to tell you, I think KC Concepcion is one of these most under talked about transfer portal gets in the country. I love this guy at NC State. They played him at running back. They played him at receiver. They gave him the ball in a multitude of ways, could beat you over the top, underneath shallow routes, gets open, really good in small spaces, good with the ball in his hands. I think Colin Klein is going to really utilize him in a lot of different ways. So I'm high on them. And look, I'm a Mike Elko fan. I thought, as you guys saw when he was the defensive coordinator in College Station last time, and they were a top 5 defense in the country, we saw what he did at Duke. And the fact that after that USC game, he basically said, enough's enough. I'm making sure the defense improves from here. When I look at everything, and look, I know you're losing some key pieces, the Shamars and Nick Scorton up front, but they've recruited well. I think they can replenish that. the back seven's basically intact. I mean, you've got pretty much everybody coming back. And now Mike Elko's saying, I'm holding everyone accountable, and I'm going to see to it that this side of the ball is improved. I like A&M year two with Mike Elko at the helm.
Dusty, regardless of the reports earlier in the week on John Mateer and the whole gambling thing, which looks to be nothing, I came away out of SEC Media Days thinking, God, everything I'm hearing about this guy, like he could be the real deal. So why are you high on Oklahoma considering that crazy schedule? Is it because of Mateer?
Well, yes, it is. It's Mateer with Arbuckle, right? They've worked together 2 years at Washington State. You're not starting over at offensive coordinator and quarterback. Yes, they're both new to the program, but they're very familiar with each other. This is year 3 for them, and they can keep building. So they come in together to teach this offense to everyone. I love that combination. That's why I think Marcel Reed year 2 with Colin Klein. I think you look at Cade Klubnik at Clemson. Now it's year 3 with him and Garrett Riley. I think that the longer a quarterback and a coordinator in particular can be together, can learn one another, and can get familiarized and comfortable, I think the better. So I think that's huge for John, just that continuity with the coordinator. He's he's got some swag to him. He's got an edge to him. He's very mobile. He's got a live arm, makes plays off schedule. And, it's so cliche, and I don't want to go there with it. Baker Mayfield was one of the greatest quarterbacks we've ever seen in college football. I think that we'd all agree to that. He finished inside the top 4 Heisman voting 3 straight times. But what he's bringing, the elements that he's bringing to that Oklahoma locker room, intangibly and tangibly are eerily similar. And he's coming with a new coordinator similar to Baker did with Lincoln Riley when those two kind of matched up and came in. I'm not setting a bar to that standard. Those two, they were prolific together. But I do think that there's some very similar vibes. When you've got a quarterback, everyone in that locker room walks a little taller. The coaches got a little bit more pep in their step, and they've got a quarterback. Going back to spring practice, one of the first touchdown passes he threw, as soon as he throws the touchdown, he sprints down and he's celebrating with his wide receiver. May seem insignificant, but it's genuine excitement, joy, enthusiasm that to me is infectious to a locker room that they knew almost immediately, we've got our guy. And then you couple that with an offensive line that's going to be better, a receiving core that, again, this is all barring injuries are not a factor for every team we talk about because they were clearly a factor for Oklahoma last year. That receiver room is going to be in a much better place. I think this will be the breakout year Deion Burks had anticipated. And we haven't even touched on Jade Knott, that in 2023, you could argue he's the top 5 running back in the country at Cal. So I like the pieces they have in place offensively. It's called what it was. It was a dreadful offensive season last year. I think on record, it was one of the 3 worst offensive years in the history of Oklahoma football. That's a mouthful. I think it can easily be one of the most improved units in the SEC. And defensively, though you lose Danny Stutzman and though you lose Billy Bowman, I'll just say what Phil Steele said, because don't believe in old Oklahoma D lineman. Let's listen to Phil Steele. He's got them as the number 1 defensive line in college football. Not my words, his. I don't know if I put them that high, but I'll say this, they're going to be really good up front. So to me, when you can play really good at the line of scrimmage with a defensive line and you've got really good quarterback play, you're going to give yourself a chance. So that schedule's daunting, there's no doubt, but I'll be surprised if Oklahoma isn't vastly improved this season.
Dusty, last thing for you. Got about a minute left. Just Texas, do they take a step back? And when I say take a step back, Texas fans maybe sometimes get a little upset. Like, they were one of the top 4 teams in the country last year. Do they take a step back with some of the changes, or do they take that next step up?
I personally don't have them going to Atlanta in the SEC championship game. From that standpoint, I'd say they do. I do have them winning 10 games. I do have them making the college football playoff. So, I don't have them in my championship game. So, I mean, we'll see. Look, I think their defense is going to be wonderful. I have questioned an offensive line. They've recruited well. What does it look like with all these new pieces? And I think Arch is going to be great. but don't we expect, like we see with most other quarterbacks, first-year starter, him to have some hiccups? I mean, I feel like the bar, Heisman Trophy winner, national champion, number one everywhere, it's almost unrealistic expectations for a first-year starter. So given where they were a year ago in Atlanta, college football playoff semifinal, I guess I do have them taking a step back. But listen, for Oklahoma fans, for Aggies fans, you may not want to hear this. Sark is an outstanding coach, and they're not going anywhere far for a long time the way I see it. They're going to be at the top of the SEC and the top of college football for the foreseeable future.
Dusty, this was great, man. Thanks for making a few minutes for us. I appreciate it.
All right, thank you.